everyone, and welcome to our concluding episode on the series Understanding Safeguarding. My name is Olugbenga Ogunleye, and it's been a pleasure to have been on this series for the past how many minutes now? How many episodes now? Still counting. With me, as always, as before, I've still got Mrs. Esther Ezieshi. Hello, you're welcome once again.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You like that smile, right? Don't you? Yeah, I do. Someone expects me to also say he's smiling. Shall we not? Welcome with me, Stephen Makinde. He's now smiling. I think he's considered my advice during the break. So yeah, he's smiling, full of smile. Welcome once again, Stephen Makinde, the accountant and the risk expert.
Thank you.
Who is also a member of the safeguarding team for Foursquare, Great Britain, Birmingham Church. Yeah, you're welcome. And Mr. Ifedayoni, the poet, now the full-time poet. You're welcome once again. It's been good having you on this series, Understanding Safeguarding. Yes, so I was just thinking that before we went on the break, what are the steps that can be taken immediately anyone suspects that there's an abuse going on someone? Are there a list of things that need to be done, or can I just, like I said earlier, just go down and pray and say, God, please help that brother, help that sister, I suspect that he's getting abused, or even if I get a revelation, just have a dream that this person is going through something, whatever it is. Anyway, don't ask me how I'll get to know, because you mentioned how to spot abuse, signs of abuse in one of our episodes earlier. But yeah, what are the to-dos in terms of having seen the abuse? What do we then do? For anyone listening at home,
Would you want to go first, or can I?
Feel free.
So, in reality, there are policies that guide each of the organization. So, for example, in the church, I have a policy that guides the to-dos and the don'ts. So, for clarity's sake, safeguarding applies only to children and vulnerable adults.
Yeah.
So, if you notice any form of abuse that for someone that is not a child and is not a vulnerable adult, this policy will not apply to them. There might be other forms of the policy in the church that will apply to that kind of situation. So, This is for children, that means people that cannot speak up for themselves, that cannot protect themselves. This is when this policy will apply. So, some of the things that this policy advises to do is, in that situation, don't panic, don't delay, because they might be dangerous. Don't promise to keep secrets, because at one point or the other you need to tell someone about it, which is the lead. And then you have to ask. You don't ask leading questions, because it's not your role. So when you notice any form of abuse, or when you have any form of concern, speak to the safeguarding lead in the church.
The safeguarding
lead in the church. That's the first thing you have to do. So that person is trained to know the right things to do, the right steps to take, those to speak to, and how to add on that information. So your own is, don't panic, don't delay, don't try and be the superhero, don't try and ask leading questions, don't ask them to repeat the story unnecessarily, because you might be causing them more harm trying to repeat that story. Don't try and express any opinion about what they have told you. Don't try and discuss that thing with anyone else apart from the safeguarding lead, because that confidentiality must be maintained. You might have been you have done your bit by identifying it. Your next step is to tell the safeguarding lead. They will take it up from there. And then another thing you can do is to take whatever they tell you seriously. Don't just brush it off with don't worry, that's small thing, and remain calm. Because if someone is telling something in confidence, and then they see that you yourself are already panicking, they'll be afraid. But if they see some form of reassurance from you, then they will be able to tell you more about it. So remain calm, don't panic, don't try and
be serious about it.
Serious about it. Take it serious, and don't try and be judgmental. Don't blame them. Don't blame the victim for anything that you have noticed. Then use language that they understand. They are children. Speak to them in simple words, in words that they understand. Write down, if it's possible, write down those words verbatim, so that when you are narrating it to the safeguarding lead, you are not using your own words.
You're not
If you are able to,
paraphrasing.
you are not paraphrasing, because it is important that those words get to the certain lead in the exact way which is narrated. If you can put it down verbatim, that's very important. Then remember that you also may need support. Yes, because if you notice some form of abuse, it might trigger something in you also. Or if you notice some form of abuse, you might not know at that point in time, but as along the way, something might happen to you also that you feel, has this happened to me before too? So just think about it too, that you also might need support. Then seek advice from the safeguarding lead. So as you're narrating the story to the safeguarding lead, speak to them about support that you also might need also. Really? So I'll let the others also add things
That's
to
interesting. It. You said quite a number of things there, but let me take you on just one. Now the policy that you have cited, your preference now is just taking us all to the designated safeguarding lead. Yes. In the very unlikely event that this concern is related to that safeguarding lead, what then happens?
Let me let Bro Ife answer this one.
Okay. So, but if the safeguarding lead is a woman, for instance, and then the husband of that woman is the one who has confided in me, say she normally she withholds, she just steals my money, she doesn't give me 2 meat, she give me 1, or she does this and that, and it's a concern to the husband of the woman. Should I still go and tell the lady safeguarding lead?
No.
So
no.
How? What?
And that's why hierarchy is very, very important in every organization. There would always be the next person in line, so the person holding that position. So if the safeguarding lead is kind of incriminated in that particular abuse, scenario, or let me say in that particular alleged abuse, so you will not talk to the person because it can actually jeopardize the investigation. So what you can do, you can talk to external organization or
external.
I say or.
Yeah, expanding it already.
Well, I'll tell you why I've said that. Or you could talk to, say for example, the next person in line of command. Say the next person in the hierarchy.
This is below or above. Below the below.
But it needs to be confined. I know we had a discussion outside. So basically, if something has to do with me in the church, so you could actually talk to the senior pastor.
All right, that's above. Okay.
Does that make sense? You could talk to the senior pastor, or if you know someone who you really trust, or who you can confide in, then you could talk to that person as well. Does it make sense? And you need to know that this person will be able to, you talk to the person in confidence, and they will actually maintain confidentiality about this thing. But then, when I mean confidentiality, is not like broadcasting and talking to many people about what you have told them. And that's why there's a need for just one person. But if the person is incriminated in the situation, they need to go to the next person in line of command, or anyway. That being said, and also, it's not uncommon for the person to be. It's very rare, but I've never come across that. But it's not. It's not impossible. For that to happen. But that would be very, very, very. It would be very tricky because the person that will be an abuse of position of power, because the person is put in that position to actually protect us, to safeguard us, and they're not the ones actually perpetuating the evil or the abuse. So that's quite very, 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 that would be very, very serious. Then I will be looking at the organization's policy to look at, they need to review many things in the organization. And when I say you could go out, the extent organization is because every organization out there, they have the duty to actually safeguard people. All right. When I mean outside, you could talk to the police. If you tell the police, I just want you to make it to be confidential, but if you want to talk to one in the church, one person and the person should not, that could be your level of, because if you don't trust somebody in the church that they're not going to tell people, I'm not saying it shouldn't be like that, but I'm just giving a wide example.
But then, sorry to interrupt you, but is there a duty of, is there an obligation to report that thing? Right? Is that an option to just keep quiet or is it compulsorily reportable?
Right. So for every, say for example, especially if a crime is committed, right? If a crime is involved, you have to report it. If there is an investigation, right? If there's an investigation about a child, and before you know it, I'll tell you what, if you try to conceal it, you'll be surprised. And that's why you have to be diligent with your recording. File everything, because in the long run, it might come out, and you might be questioned, what did you do about it? What did you do about it? Why didn't you not report to the organization that could help this person? But if you have your file and your recording is quite on point, you could itemize all the things that you have done. All right, and then let me tell you exactly. So, if it's an abuse, you do not need to report to the. If an abuse, not like a safeguarding. So we are treating two different things now.
Are they different now?
Abuse, safeguarding. So abuse can feature in safeguarding, and it may not. So, say for example, if someone does not meet the criteria for safeguarding, it will just be an abuse.
Okay.
So that person, when they're talking to you, like Brother Stephen said, all the things that he highlighted, in that, all you need to do, provide reassurance and do not judge. That's very, very critical. Do not judge. So you could signpost, offer the support, let the person know that they can trust you, be there for the person, because for abuse, it might take ages. I tell you what, for someone to come to tell you about an abuse, for someone to confide in you that they have been abused, I'm telling you, that was not the first time. In fact, I think research says about 20 times. Don't quote me. Yes, it's not the first time. It's many times. And for them to pick
makes sense.
you, to choose you, to talk to you, know that it takes some level of bravery. So
And
do not
trust.
abuse that, and trust, and do not abuse that. And when I do not abuse that, it's just that, start judging them, start saying, oh, it's your fault. For them to get to that level, it takes a lot of bravery, to say, okay, I can come and talk to this person. So don't take that for granted, and always act to protect the person.
Brilliant. All right, thank you very much. I know we can go on, and then we'll be on this matter. But abuse, safeguarding, I was just thinking they were the same. Now I'm clarified that they are not exactly the same. So there can be an abuse that hasn't led to a safeguarding matter, because the checklist that you mentioned earlier on are not all ticked. Person is not in danger, or person is your capacity, so it's not deemed, not a child, so it's not deemed to be requiring safeguarding. I think I heard that before. I got good memory.
Right. I think it's modeled up now. So for an adult to qualify for safeguarding process, the person must have needs for care and support.
Yeah.
That is number one. Then number two, they will not be able to protect themselves. Say for example, if somebody comes to report to you that something's happened to me, number one, they don't have needs for care and support. It's not safeguarding.
All right.
They can protect themselves. Okay, you can talk to the police, but they've chosen to come and talk to you about it because sometimes they want to talk to someone who could talk to that person to kind of maybe mediate and resolve the issue. And if it doesn't work, they might go ahead and talk to the police about it. Does it make sense?
Right.
So it's not. But if someone is vulnerable, then there's also what we call safeguarding threshold. So for every concern that is reported to you, may not meet threshold for safeguarding.
Everything reported may not meet
the threshold of safeguarding. So it might just mean like, okay, concerns that you need to put some measures in place. But if it meets threshold for safeguarding concern, for wherever you live, there's something that says, it's Care Act 2014. Section 42 talks about where the body lies. I think it's 43. Where the body lies. So the local authority of that particular where you reside. So if you reside in Luton, or if you're in Birmingham, if there's safeguarding concern about someone and you meet the threshold for safeguarding, the local authority will carry out that investigation.
I see.
Not in this church. We can aid the investigation, and that's why you're reporting it, and you have to keep your record, on point. So you could submit to them your own report, like this is what I know of the situation.
Right.
So, but they will carry out the inquiry and they will involve as many agencies as possible.
to get to the bottom of it. Good. All right. Thank you very much for that. I think I'll let that slide now. Let's quickly go touch briefly on the survivors of abuse, those who have been through it, and what kind of help would you say is available? What kind of counseling, therapy would you want to talk about? Anyone can go for this now on the panel. What kind of help is that so that the trauma of that thing doesn't come back? That if it does come back, I don't know. I haven't been in that situation before, and I don't plan to be.
I'd like to pick on what Brasil said earlier on. Like, if somebody comes to talk to you about something, you might also need help because it might trigger some kind of memory or trauma in you as well. So, and that's why the emotional, psychological abuse is quite very very important. It's just cuts across so many facets, and it needs to be you need to seek support. And this actually reminds me of what I said in the first episode, or the second episode. I think it was the first episode about statutory rape. Maybe I could just it's quite right, but just a little bit more of explanation to it. So in the UK, if you have any sexual activity with a child under the age of 13, that could be classified as statutory rape. Then if you have, because the age of consent is 16 years old, right? So if you have...
Did you say 13 or 16?
First is 13.
Okay, 13.
For under 13, then it is statutory rape. Then, because age of consent is 16, so if you have any sexual activity or relationship or whatever it is between a child between the age of 13 and 16, because 16 is the consent age, so that's also statutory rape. However, if there are some sexual or some offenses against the child between the age of 16 and 18, because they are still children, that could also be classified as statutory rape. So the fact that someone is 16 years old and they can consent, if there's any sexual or any offenses against them that could be sexual in nature, that could also be called statutory rape. So in a nutshell, consent is key, it's powerful, and always be mindful of the age. More importantly, respect this person. They are all human beings as we are. Now, I'm saying this because anything could trigger whatever trauma that we have passed through in life. So many people, maybe they've had some bitter, traumatic experiences from relatives, from friends, from everywhere. So the first thing first is to seek help. We have different, I always refer people to, there are so many agencies out there that could support with abuse or, past trauma, because what people normally have is called PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It could lead to that, and that's a mental disorder on its own. So most people suffer this, and when they see this, it triggers it. So talk to your GP. It's quite very crucial. GP. That's a very first point of contact, because everyone is registered with the GP. I want to believe that, even if you don't use it, we register with GP. So if we contact them, they know the different bodies, different counseling. Maybe you may need CBT or like medication or like a therapy or some environmental changes or different coping mechanisms. They also have like social prescribers as well. They have different tools. The government pays them for this, so you can speak to them. And also we can also seek solace and comfort in the Lord, and this could be through our spiritual lead. So for example, your pastor, if you're so comfortable to talking to your pastor or your mental head that you feel comfortable to speaking with, you could talk to them as well. They could offer that kind of reassurance, and they can even signpost you to what you need to do or where you need to go, right? And then if you're still in that kind of situation, I would also advise that you can even speak to your safeguarding lead, whatever organization you find yourself, maybe at work or in school or in church. speak to them because they have the links, or they have the
Information.
list, the information where to signpost you to. We've signposted many people to different, like that. We have the Women Aid around as well. We have different organizations that are working together with male, female that are victim of domestic abuse, victim of sexual abuse, victim of different sort of abuse. So it's very
Alright.
crucial you speak about it to someone.
All right.
Sounds
Thank you.
like a lecture, but I think
Yeah,
we're
it
doing-
sounds a very very long one. Or albeit quite educative. And one big takeaway is leave children alone. Yeah, should leave children alone. Children should be left to be children. Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think we can just start winding down now. If we bring it more, a bit more closer home, and talk briefly about safeguarding in our local church. Yeah, I think we'll be interested in telling the world what we do in our safeguarding team. I'll just leave you guys to talk about. So just tell the world
The safeguarding
how great the safeguarding team has
Yes.
been
in this church.
in this church. You haven't got a lot of time for that, so stop staring at me.
Okay, basically, for the church, we have a total number of 6, if I'm not mistaken, of safeguarding team members in the church currently, and we have a designated lead who is professionally trained in that area, and also other team members have also undergone training from a church organization, Africa, on how to.
Is that an external organization?
Yes, it's something from the church.
Oh,
How
okay.
to take steps in safeguarding and how to spot signs, what steps to take. And we also have a policy that guides the members also, and also the church in general, which outlines the do's and don'ts, the legislation that guides these policies, that informs us when we need training, when we need to act, how to act, and all the likes. And basically, the safeguarding team is not just, we won't say we are perfect, but we strive to seek more knowledge. We strive to ensure that we are putting our best to achieve the also aim of safeguarding itself in the church. Because just as we said from the beginning, the major aim of safeguarding is not to react when the harm has been carried out. One of the major aim of safeguarding is to prevent the harm in the first place, because there's a saying in Yoruba that in English means that the aftermath of a mark cannot be like the hand itself before the mark has been put on it.
It's called a scar.
A scar. Oh, nice.
Scar.
So the major point is to prevent it in the first place. So if the arms comes to place of the abuse has happened, what they're next to do. So that's one of the things the safeguarding team does. And also, I don't know if are we allowed to say these names in the event that anyone wants to
You don't have to
You don't
mention
have to,
them.
okay.
You don't have to.
So I think that's just a brief summary of what the safeguarding team in the church does.
And I think one thing that members should be mindful of is this policy. You can find it on the church website.
Oh, they're not hidden. They're not confidential policies.
No,
They are not. It's for everyone to read.
I see.
So we all can go and read it. It will also help us. It will also inform us, because they were not written for just the safeguarding lead. It's for everyone. So everyone has access to that policy, because that is what will guide us, even as a church.
All right, that's great. I seem to think that the safeguarding team has got an email address also. I think I kind of come across that email address, because I'm just thinking that if someone is watching us from the house, not necessarily more of this church, but
Wants to
feels
send
like
an email.
feels like
questions.
has a concern.
Anonymous.
Is it all right? Is that okay for anyone to reach out to us on safeguarding matters, even though they are members of the Four Square Church?
I think it can be displayed on the screen while you're watching us, but it's actually safeguarding at foursquarebirmingham.com. So safeguarding at foursquarebirmingham.com.
Yeah, that should roll across the screen.
Yeah.
As you're reading it now. But the question I was trying to get at is, does it matter or is it restricted only to the church members who can raise concerns? Can anyone from public also raise any concern about safeguarding through that email, for instance, and say I have something bothering me?
Yeah, it's like I said, safeguarding is everyone's business. So I think it's a question about people that are not part of our church. Can they
Yes. Is that Is it limited to our church only, or?
Well, if we receive any referral from the outside, I think we would treat it as when we receive them, because we might be reaching out to the person. What would you want us to do?
All right.
Did they want us to signpost?
All right.
It will need a lot of details before we can actually. So when we get the details, we know what to do about it.
All right. But the channel is open anyway. At least somebody should die in silence. People should be able to speak up.
Yes.
For a charity organization,
Yeah,
can feel free
organization,
to reach out if you need help.
Yeah.
That's the point I was trying to get to. All right.
And
Pretty much.
I think I also think about something as well. Like we did it. I'm not quite sure if we did. When we're talking, I think it was the second episode. We spoke about the science of abuse. I think how to spot abuse. I
That's
think we
what-
just mentioned one, and that was it.
You
And I
want
think-
to add?
No, I think it's quite very crucial. We actually expand on that to just see what do we look out for. I mean, how do we spot abuse? There's so many, and I'm quite sure a lot. We have a lot to talk about. So I will leave. If it's okay with you, the host.
If you can do that in 1 minute.
Not me.
If you can just list.
I can't list. It's a lot. It's a lot because the abuse, the forms, there are different categories. What the categories of abuse? If it's financial abuse, maybe you see the person lacking, not being able to buy or afford what they should be able to afford, like small thing. If it's emotional, maybe they'll be withdrawn.
Self-esteem lowered,
self-esteem,
self-confidence.
things
We
like
actually
that.
talked about
We
this.
have in the past.
No.
We have.
Yeah.
But we didn't actually as a subtopic. I feel.
Oh, well, maybe you're not
We were just
satisfied with the way we
that's
said
what I'm
it.
saying, because it's safeguarding is very broad.
I get that.
And it kind of comes, interwoven in a way. So if we, just like what I was explaining, abuse, safeguarding, people who meet the criteria for safeguarding, people who don't, then the safeguarding threshold. So if we are not careful, we just be talking and so
I get it's a bit
that's what I
technical,
think.
really. Yeah. I
It's
get
not
that.
a topic that can
No,
exhaust.
why?
It continues.
Why?
I'm sure very soon another episode is going to come out. So we'll just be taking it. Let's
Yeah.
not pack everything
At
so
once,
that we
yeah.
can give people yes.
That's
Let's
that's
take
wisdom.
let's just take it gradually so that people can understand what it really means. We can't finish it today.
No.
It's not possible.
Uh,
So it's going to continue, and very soon I'm sure that we're
All
going
right.
to come back again.
You just heard from them. They've just promised that they're going to come back and continue from where they stopped. So
and then,
hold them to their word.
and sorry, just I know when I was talking earlier, I was talking about what you can do is to talk to and all the rest. So because we've discussed so many sensitive topics or many sensitive issues in this episode, the previous ones. So if at some point you feel distressed or you feel a bit upset about what has been discussed, this is like an avenue to actually educate, to inform people as well. But if you feel distressed, it was intentional, but you can also seek support. It's very crucial. And if these issues we've raised, if it kind of triggers some kind of feelings or emotions or experiences in you, please speak to your GP, please.
Speak up.
And also talk to someone.
Speak up.
Talk to someone.
Speak
And
up.
if you are maybe you are kind of experiencing a form of abuse at this point in time, I'm not saying you are, but please speak to someone. It's very crucial. There are
A problem
many,
shared, right?
yeah,
It's halfway
and
solved.
try to get someone to confide in and to talk about it, because it takes a lot of courage and bravery to actually come up and talk about it. Even I've seen in my line of profession, people that they report it, but they still go back into it. They can't just leave. But with education, with reassurance, with and all these things, hopefully get to that point where you've been empowered enough to
All right. I think we need to wrap up now, just so that we need to go and drink the final water. But it's been a pleasure. It's been my great pleasure having you all on set. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifedayoni. Thank you very much, Makinde, Mr. And thank you, Mrs. Esther Ezeshi.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
very glad to have you all. My name is Benga Ogunleye. Thank you very much for your wonderful perspectives. We sign off right now. See you at some other time. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.